for your time and for joining us today on our webinar, Enhance Your Corrugation Business. All right, so we're going to talk about a couple of issues that I'm sure are pretty close to your heart today, right? We're going to talk about the corrugation business and how what are the challenges that you are facing, and also how can those challenges be overcome with new normal solutions. And to kickstart things, we have Dick with us. Dick is the Sales Director for CRT Insight Technology. So we'll be introducing CRT. We'll talk a little bit more about the Microsoft Dynamics Business Central, and as well as introduce Samadhan.
Hi, morning everybody. Thank you for coming in. Yeah, CRT has been around for 16 years now. ERP system for Microsoft products, and we have 3 offices: Johor, in KL, in Singapore, and we do a couple of regional rollouts as well for the Microsoft products. We have been implementing Microsoft products for a long time, since day one until now. We have 300 over companies under our arm using the system. And today we're going to talk a little bit more, very specific about the paper industry. Next, please. Right, now CRT has been around, like I said, for 16 years now. We do primarily just ERP software. Okay, so we are in the business of implementing ERP, providing best practices for people, and sourcing for newer technologies as well. Yeah, next, please. Okay, CRT, we built our pillar on 3 things: C, R, and T, which is care, respect, and trust. Caring for our customer and caring for our staff, who will caring for care and respect and trust all our customers and all our staff. Yep, and this is how we build the relationship with our customers. In fact, we don't call them actually customers, we call them partners. So we're actually in partnership of building the entire ERP system for our partners here. Next. We over the many years, we have implemented quite a number of industries, and this is where we specialize in, primarily in manufacturing. Then of course you have the subcategory in manufacturing, and today we're going to talk about paper industry. We also implemented quite well in the life science industry, and of course that goes together with engineering, distribution, and so on. These are the norm that is in the market. Yeah, and so within the organization, next please. Within the organization, so we have the implementation team. We also have a little business consulting team who provide best practices. We also do Office 365, which is called Microsoft 365. We also build custom software and mobile apps. And what is so important is that we have a dedicated support help desk who support all our customers. They are not on project. Yep. Next, please. Today we're going to introduce the Microsoft Dynamics 365 Business Central, and then a specialty industry that we talk about with the paper industry, which I will bring in our partners. This particular solution can be on cloud, can be on-prem. The deployment is quite flexible, so we can do that both ways. Primarily for the manufacturing side of the paper industry. Next, please. Okay. Now, who we have today who's going to help us with the nitty-gritty, the details of this particular specialty is our partner called Samadhan. They have been around for many years, 30 over years. They are co-partner. They have implemented close to 100 over 6 different countries. Very experienced and very focused in this particular area. Yeah. So And this is where we will bring in Samadhan to talk in detail the industry solution for paper and packaging. Very, very specialized. Yeah. So I'm not gonna take the thunder out from them. So I'm gonna bring them in and let Samadhan, let Mr. Manoj to talk about his offering and his organization behind this. Okay, so you can see their credentials. Many customers, many different countries. There's no barrier. Specialized ERP implementer, specifically just for this industry itself. And that's their strength. And that's where I think Mr. Manoj can talk a little bit more about Samadhan and the specialty for this industry.
Thanks for that quick introduction of and also running through the topics of what we're going to be talking about today. Before we proceed, we have the next segment. We will be bringing in Ms. Bernadette Chin, who is the Group Director of Kian Joo Group, for her tips and advice from an industry leader. Before we jump into that quickly, first thing is we do have a Q&A function on this webinar. If you look at the top panel, there is a Q&A button. So if you have any questions, feel free to drop them in there. We will have a Q&A section at the end of the presentations, and we'll go through the questions then. And secondly, also, if you missed out any part of the presentation today, don't worry, we have a recording. We have a recording that we will be sharing with you later on after the event. Okay, with that, I'd like to bring on Ms. Bernadette Chin, who's patiently waiting in the wings over here. Let me bring you up on screen. Okay, hi, Ms. Chin.
Good morning. Just call me
Good
Bernie.
morning. Oh, call you Bernie. Okay, hi, Bernie. Okay, so well, we do have a couple of questions here. I think to get the conversation going, and if anyone has any Q&A or any points of interest or burning questions, please feel free to drop it in the Q&A. So, Bernie, thank you so much for your time here today, and for really giving us some. We really appreciate you coming on to share with us your tips in the industry, as an industry leader. So I think there are a couple of questions that a lot of people in the industry would like to know. So I'll pose questions to you and let's hear your say on it. Okay, so first things first, I think when it comes to industry leaders, the first thing on their mind is always the challenges. So Bernie, what do you think are the challenges being faced by the corrugation box manufacturing industry as of now, or that you may foresee?
Okay, maybe just a little bit of the background from the industry that I'm from. We are a large packaging manufacturer in Malaysia, and we have presence in Vietnam and Myanmar, and very soon we are also going to have presence in USA. See, now corrugated carton manufacturing is just one of the packaging manufacturing that we are doing. We also do aluminum cans as well as tin cans, and we also do contract manufacturing. So we have 4 distinct divisions, and corrugated carton manufacturing is one of them. Our company, the group itself, we are located in a number of countries, and therefore you can imagine the challenge of managing the manufacturing plants across different countries itself, and having a good ERP system that allow us visibility of information almost at real time. It's very important in today's time and age, especially, Kisha, in today's time and age. You've seen how the pandemic itself has created a big, huge upheaval in every single country. Malaysia has not been spared completely, and our presence even in Myanmar, even in Vietnam itself, also not spared at all. With the huge disruption in the global supply chain, that requires manufacturers like us to react to the problems. One of the biggest problems we had in the last 1 year, and I'm very sure every one of us in the audience will also appreciate this, is the lead time leading to supplies of raw material. As manufacturers, supply of raw materials, which is all our input materials, as well as spare parts, as well as machinery, all of this were disrupted to a large extent. So if we do not have a good ERP system in place, or a good database, basically, information and data that is made available to decision makers so that they can react and plan ahead in terms of understanding how much more working capital is required, how much more inventory do we need to have, how much more inventory can we pare down as we have limited resources, financial resources. All companies have this as an issue as well. And then also to react to the escalating prices of raw material. All of us experienced that last year in particular, as well as costs rising from importation of raw materials. For a number of us who are relying on imported paper rolls, for corrugated carton manufacturers like us, we import quite a bit of paper rolls coming from many different countries. So lead time is a big challenge. Escalating prices or inflationary costs of paper roll costs, in particular, it's a huge challenge for us in that sense, as well as freight costs. Now, how do we respond to the market in terms of where is the demand? So we have to very quickly understand where's the demand and how to make changes to our customers whose requirement has also changed in that sense. Many of them, depending on which industry they are, some flourished during the pandemic, and some, of course, had a bit more difficult time. And then their orders and their sales and revenue have also dipped in that sense. So all this have a major impact to corrugated carton manufacturers like us. Okay, this is on a macro basis some of our biggest challenges, and it cuts across all industry. In particular for corrugated carton manufacturers, where the main material is paper roll, and it's not a combination of many other things. Your main source of your material is paper roll. This becomes even more challenging.
Thank you, Bernie. I think, nowadays there is this term that says that right now we are facing an economy in chaos. A lot of shortages in supplies that's leading to higher prices. Of course, the manufacturers in between, where you are the middle people who take all these raw materials and then make it into something else for your customers. You're feeling the pinch very much more because you're in the middle, right? So the second question that I have, which you kind of also answered a little bit, but maybe to put things in more perspective, how can putting an integrated solution help address these challenges? Or to expand on it further, how did having an integrated solution maybe help Kian Joo to get ahead of the curve right now, where you can, kind of mitigate the current situation and the challenges?
Tisha, what happened was a couple of years ago, we realized that we were sitting on a very archaic, very old ERP system. It has served us well in the past, but as time went on, then we found as management, as decision makers, where we have to react to market conditions, to customers' requirement. And today, most of our customers are MNC customers. So their demands, their quality, their requirements are at lightning speed in that sense. Okay, so we as manufacturers have to react to all of this, and we have to change. So we realized that we needed to go out and look for an ERP system that can suit and fill in the gaps. So we did a gap study, and then we found that we needed a solution that could measure up to this thing. Now, having put in a new ERP system then we realize that we have a lot more data. Today, the newer ERP system allow us to collect a lot more data. And with data is the new goal for today, see? So with data itself, we are able to go out to the market, to the customers, to vendors and suppliers, in fact, and negotiate better pricing. Negotiate better pricing for ourselves, and so that we are able to also pass on costs down to the customers. And that's something that they are looking for too. Many of our customers are looking for manufacturers who can give them added value. So the added value in terms of services, in terms of quality of the product and everything, can only come if we have the ability to not so much as research, but have the ability to drill down to the information that we have with all our entire production and manufacturing information, and then be able to understand how we can add more value to the product itself, how we can pass on better pricing to our customers, and react to also timing. So having an integrated solution that cuts across the whole entire supply chain, and a solution that is end-to-end, looking at for customers' forecasts, putting it into the system itself, allowing us to then plan ahead, not just driving the capacity in our manufacturing plant, but also understanding how much of materials and working capital that we need to put in place to optimize that level, so that we are able to continue to produce and supply with minimal disruption to our customers' requirement in that sense. See, so that integrated solution allow us, like I said, customers' forecast information allow us better planning for the buying of raw material, as well as better planning in terms of ensuring that we have got better production efficiency out of every single asset. So we want to sweat our assets a lot more in that sense, right? And achieve a much higher OEE. And this in turn will drive the profitability of the manufacturing plants itself.
I see. So in terms of, you know, as a result of also driving the profitability, I think your customers can also feel the benefits of it. Yeah.
Yes,
and
yes.
yeah, that's a very good point. So, and lastly, we have a couple of delegates today who are from the packaging industry, definitely. What would be your advice as a market leader? What would be your advice to our delegates attending today's session from the packaging industry?
A couple of things that all of us, I think, can take away from this particular session. I think most of them are also leaders and they are well versed with this particular industry itself. But what happens is nothing beats having a good system in place, whether it's an operational technology that's on the shop floor, or from a financial standpoint, you have a good ERP system. We cannot live without softwares and technology today. So you can have the best machinery on the shop floor, but if you have no data coming in and out of that machinery of your plant, you are not able to deliver to today's customers' requirement and demands. So having a good integrated solution, end-to-end, right from your plant to your finance team, in that sense, to the decision makers, for operational guys to have the ability to view the performance of the plant on a daily basis. This becomes really, really important. So I think for all of us, what we want is to have data in our hands. So data that is made available either through mobile features or through laptops, or even, you know, sometimes we put them up on the shop floor itself, so that it drives a completely different set of behavior when people can see their performance among their peers, among different guys who are running the different machinery. Then people are incentivized in that sense, incentivized to do better than what they did the day before, the month before. So my advice would be choose a good system. Equally, we need to have a good partner, a system integrator or system solution implementer. We have to go out and look for a good system implementer and work with the company to implement a system that will drive these properly for you. And nevertheless, there are going to be pains. Nothing is, smooth sailing in that sense. So we need to have a good project team in place. The financial guys, particularly the accountants, need to take full accountability of any system that is put in place, understand how we can maximize the use of the solution itself, and teach. I think the whole idea is teach everyone in the organization how to benefit from the usage of any kind of system implemented that will help them make little decisions. So everybody across the whole organization uses data to make little decisions that will then, bring the entire company in the right direction. Okay, Kisha?
Yes, thank you so much, Bernie. Thanks for all the advice. I'm pretty sure our attendees also got quite a few good nuggets of good advice from your session. Thank you for your time. And let's see. Again, if anybody has any questions, Bernie will be with us until the end of the session. Please do feel free to drop your questions in the Q&A section. Okay, so next up we have Mr. Manoj from Samadhan, who will be sharing with us a little bit more about the Samadhan solution. So Manoj, earlier we heard from Bernie regarding the challenges of the box manufacturing industry, and also very helpful insights from her as to how integrated solutions help to address these challenges, and also the advice for the delegates that we have today. So I think next up, having you to share with us what the Samadhan new normal solution will be able to provide would be great. And I won't hold up your time. I'll let you take it away.
Thank you, Keisha. It's a pleasure to be part of this presentation. And as Bernie rightly pointed out, the world is in turmoil, and the business is always in turmoil because of some reason or other. But we are able to, in the recent times, the disturbances have been very acute, and the need for a tool to figure out what's going on in my business and how do I steer it, as she was saying, that unless you have data pointing at the right directions, giving you the ground realities in an understandable manner, your response to the environment would be very slow. So this was made very acute in the recent times, and in the new normal, it just so happened that the acute need for an appropriate system became very clear and abundantly visible to all business leaders, and we feel that we've been able to bring in a lot of values in the current situation. So what we are very happy to present to the audience here is the solution that we have built on Microsoft Dynamics 365 Business Central. And as Bernie was saying, that they needed a better solution, and they looked around, figured out about who and which solution is likely to meet the requirement. And one of the things which they were looking for is that it should be a very robust international standard ERP, which should be forming the foundation of the solution. And the second thing that they were looking at was that is there a ready-made adaptation already available for their specific business So that's what we brought on the table. We brought Microsoft Dynamics, which is an internationally acclaimed, very stable, very dependable ERP platform. And then we have been working in the corrugated business for a very, very long time with a lot of many customers. So we understand this business. We had a lot of things already created, and we went into box pack industries, and then we further adapted the solution for their specific requirement. So let me take you through the entire scenario. So normally in a atmosphere where you do not have an ERP, these are the issues we face. So there are systems which are systems by themselves. They're not connected to each other. There are a lot of duplicate data floating around. There are processes are manual. The reporting is not okay. The security is a concern area. All of this adds up to a lot of difficulty in trying to give an adequate response to the demands on the environment, right? So what does Microsoft Dynamics 365 Business Central have? It has everything that a medium business would require. It has got a very deep, adequate financial system, the quality management, the operation management, a lot of reporting and analytic, supply chain management, sales and service management. So this is what Microsoft Dynamics 365 Business Central comes with when it is the standard offering from Microsoft. What happens is that on top of this, when we bring in other add-on solutions like us, corrugated solutions, so what happens is that we have this entire gamut of activities being adequately supported. So we work with sales forecast, then we get into sales, the procurement, paper, as Bernie was mentioning, that paper is a major raw material, and paper is always delivered and handled in reels. So the reels have an identity. You need to manage them from the time they get into your plant to the time that they actually get consumed. Then we have also worked out with a number of customers, including Boxpack, that our software can speak to their machines. So we tell the machine to do what, and then the machine carries out its production program as per the schedule, and we get an output also from the machine, and we get a consumption from the machine. So there is no human intervention. There are a lot of scrap which gets generated as a process, but we would like to know whether those scrap can be analyzed and can we have a handle on any one of them, because any scrap that you can reduce adds up to your bottom line straight away. A very intelligent purchase planning and requisition has been made available. The quality of incoming material, work in process, and the finished good is available. We deliver our boxes in corrugated box industry in pallets, and the pallets are something which can be reused. So, and the pallets also provide identity to the finished good product. So there is a whole lot of management around that. We have a very strong production scheduling facility which helps us maximize the output from a plant and also meet the delivery timeline, the dispatch and trip planning, invoicing, and statutory obligations to the country in which we operate. So the entire thing is covered, and this is the snapshot of all that we provide as an extension to the Microsoft Dynamics 365 Business Central standard solution. Now, so the couple of things which stand out in our solution, I thought I would deal with them so that the people who are attending get a flavor of what is possible. So one of the things that is the differentiating factor of our solution, that we have created what is called a product design interface, which is a place where the corrugated boxes may appear very simple, but there are a lot of detailing around in the corrugated boxes, and each detail is provided and asked for from the customer for a particular reason. So we cannot be losing any one of the details. We need to capture them. We need to figure out how to give those features, and we also need to cost them and make sure that the delivery happens to the customer exactly as they wanted it. So what we do is that, as you can see, the entire box, there are a lot of detailing which we have provided in the product design interface, and including the way it looks, the partitions which are there, the scorer which are there, the flaps which are there, how it is going to be glued, how it is going to be stitched, right, how it is going to be printed, and what plate will be used, what color will be used. So entire thing is created in the software, so that no detail is missed, no detail is missed in production, and no details are found out as missing by the customer when they get the product. So this is a very significant advantage, a feature built into our solution. We have built in a quality module, which means the quality of our finished good will depend upon the quality of raw material that we buy and the quality of processes that we ensure. So hence, that entire thing is covered by quality. And what we do is that for each purchase instance, we can have a quality check done, and we have figured out parameters. So as you can see here, for paper, there is paper grammage, paper ring, the RCT is a ring crust test, bursting strength, moisture content, thickness of the paper, cob test, paper appearances. So all these features, our customers can configure them, decide what is the threshold, and then take a sample and do the measurement and find out whether the threshold is met or not. If it is not met, we have done certain numbers of automation to say if the parameters are all right, the consignment is accepted without any further action. If not, then there are other workflows created. So bringing in a quality module has given a lot of advantage to our customers. Then, as I was saying, the production scheduling engine that we have created for the corrugation and the converting part. So in corrugation business, we have two processes mainly. One is that we create corrugated boards, and then we create boxes out of the board. So when we create boxes out of the board, that's called converting. So what we have done is that we have created a very intelligent and uh, user-friendly interface where a production planner can sit and plan the production for every shift, making sure that we would like to minimize the reel changes, the paper reel changes, and the corrugation roll changes. By doing that, what we ensure is that our corrugation line keeps on working and the downtimes are minimized. At the same time, we don't want to lose sight of the customer commitment. So a very good system has been created for production planning, and it always adds up little more production to what was otherwise possible. And as I had mentioned, that we have provided bi-directional integration. So this is our line scheduling. And when we do a scheduling, as Bernie was saying, there is always an emergency on the shop floor. So we have also provided for features like after we have created a schedule, if you wanted to, reshuffle, bring something up which was down in the priority, all that thing can be done and without losing any control whatsoever. When we do a production planning, we also look at the available stock, and we don't plan anything for which we do not have the paper stock available. A job card like this gives the detail to the shop floor of all the processes which need to be performed, all the parameters which need to be met. And then we have used extensively barcode and QR code, where everywhere, if you want to identify a pallet or a reel, you have the barcode available, and that makes sure that we don't make mistakes in the entry, we don't identify the wrong roles, and also the time taken to capture data is minimized. And as I was saying, we have done this for a number of customers, including Boxpack, is that provided a machine can give us the data, we send our production schedule to the corrugation line, and the corrugation line works as per the plan that we've decided, and we get a feedback also from the machine, and all the data from the production line can come into our system. So this is another feature that we have created. Uh, the real stock management, as I was saying, that paper is ordered in tons, but it arrives in reels, and we need to manage the reels. So the moment they arrive, we identify them, we put a barcode sticker, and the facility is there in the software to do that. And this reel keeps on moving at various processes and locations in the plant, and we make sure that we don't lose sight of that. So the reel can come in, typical situations like reel can come in, it can get rejected, and then you have to set it aside. Then there is an inspection, then you say, no, I want to conditionally accept it. Then you see whether you can make use of it. Then you have the reclassification of reel. So there are a lot of processes around reel stock management, and that is what is the specific feature, one of the specific features that we have built in our solution. Bernie was mentioning dashboarding. So we knowing very clearly graphically what is happening, so we don't lose sight of anything. So a typical dashboard would look like this, and there is a dashboard for each role that people play. So if I am a production scheduler, I would see a role where I would see this dashboard specific to my role. And if somebody head of finance like Bernie sees the dashboard, she will see the thing that she is concerned about. So this tells whatever you want to know as soon as you log in, and that's a great help. So you know what is going on. If you wanted to know more details, you can double click, get into further. And the fun is that without having to call a meeting, you understand what is what and why is it like that. And then you call a meeting, definitely, but then you call a meeting not to understand the situation, but to understand what response should we give to the situation. So that is the value add on executive time, which gets spent optimally. Now, these are some of the top features, and we would be very happy, Samadhan and CRT, to engage with individual businesses who are attending this session to take them deeper into the solution. So what do I to complete my part of discussion, that our solution has added value to all parts of the business processes, to the sales, to the product design, majorly to the manufacturing, to the quality, to the dispatch, and to the invoicing. In our application, which is running in BoxPack, we've also made interactions with banks possible. So we send instructions to the bank for payment, and there's a lot of automation around statutory reporting that CRT system has helped us build, and which is a great help to our customer in Malaysia. So Kesia, I hope I am able to give an overview of the solution that we have, which is a corrugation specific solution on an international platform like Microsoft Dynamics 365 Business Central.
Yes, Manoj, perfect. I think that was a very good overview of the solution. I'm going to keep you up on screen. I do have a couple of questions that I think will benefit our audience as well. So let's run through a few questions. Let me see. I'll just pull you up on screen. Right. Okay, so definitely good overview of the solution. I think it really does encompass and cover a lot of what or almost every aspect of the business that our manufacturers would need. So I have a question here about safety stock. So is your solution able to track safety stock, raw material availability, and purchase planning from a single screen?
Yes. So as I was saying, there is a purchasing interface that we have created, And when we want to decide what to purchase, right? So you're very right that what is the minimum stock of a particular item that we would like to keep, it forms one of the parameters. The maximum level that we want to have, that also forms a parameter. What is the economic ordering quantity, that also forms the parameter. What is the lead time to get the product is also forms the parameter, right? Where did we buy it from the last time, at what price did we buy it? So you're very right that when a purchaser looks at planning purchase, he is getting help from all these features, and then he decides which material to buy, how much, at what level, and from whom perhaps also. So he can also decide who do we want to buy it. If you have a vendor already ready, you can send the purchase order directly. But if you wanted to, source inquiries, then you can have requests for quotations, and that could be triggered. So the answer to your question is a definite yes.
All right. And one more thing. So I'm not sure whether you mentioned, but one of the big components, I think, especially for salespeople, is managing customers' returns and complaints. It's not a
Yes.
topic that they want to deal with, but I'm pretty sure they will have to deal with eventually in the course of business. So is the Samadhan Corrugation solution able to help them manage these returns and customer complaints?
Yes, answer is absolutely yes. So what we have provided is that every complaint which comes from the customer gets logged. So there is a particular way in which we log it, and when we log it, it's also linked to which consignment does it come from, which product is it for, what is the complaint. If the customer has also sent a photograph of the product which got crushed or something, we have that also included. And so one thing is that we log, and after we log, there is a root cause analysis done. Why is the mistake happened? And there are two parts of the analysis. One is that why did it happen and what can I do in my plant to prevent it from happening in future? And the second thing is that how does a customer's complaint get resolved as far as the relationship is concerned? Do we give him a credit note? Do we accept his complaint, or do we not? Or do we give him some advice? So maybe my customer is not handling my product properly and hence it is getting damaged. So can I give an advice to him? So at any point of time, all complaints are there, and somebody who's handling the customer relationship would have a look at it and understand. Also, interestingly, we also look at the fact that who is giving us more complaints, right? And what is the strategic importance of that particular customer, right? Because if there are certain customers that we want to be very, very careful about maintaining our good relationship. So any little thing that they say, I would like to be all ears to that. But there could be somebody who's just giving a complaint for nothing. So when we look at the complaint, the entire relationship that I have with the customer is also exposed to the person who is looking at the complaint analysis.
Okay, great. Thank you so much. Let's cut over. I have a couple of questions for Bernie. Let's cut over the video feed and put Bernie up back on screen. Okay. So Bernie, I think when it comes to selecting a solution or selecting a software, a lot of prospects that we have come across, and I think a lot of industry players like yourself, when it comes to selecting a new software, the first question that they ask is, can you define quantitatively how much it will save me? So the question that I have for you is, how much time do you estimate, or do you know, that has been saved because you have this industry specific solution?
Okay, I can give you just an example. In the previous solution that we had, from the time I take an order to the time I'm able to, say, produce the corrugated carton, usually would take around 3 to 4 days, okay, for the input to be, the order to be taken, input in, plan, and then produce. Now today, what happens is, with this particular integrated solution that we have in place, repeated orders It's just a press of a button. It's as simple as that. And then where planning is concerned, it can help us auto plan, exactly like what Manoj was saying. We have features where we do not have to interfere. It's smart and intelligent enough to auto plan it in such a way that will drive a lot more efficiency down at the corrugator due to the size of the reels and the type of papers and then what flute you're running. Okay. Now, with these sort of features in place today, we can take an order today and immediately be able to already run the product by tomorrow. See, so, and I'm saving a lot of administrative time. I don't have to have a bunch of clerks sitting in the office trying to work out all this paper documentation and data entry. We are also able to derive more accurate information because of the database that has captured many of this information at the very beginning. So it makes the salesman and my salesmen today don't have to spend a lot of time in the office. What we want is we give them a laptop or a tablet. They go out there. They're engaging with their customers more often now. Okay, whether to address some complaint issue or whether just to sell more. And by having data today, the sales guys have the history of everything that was produced and delivered to the customers. Okay? So depending on pricing, depending on the availability of paper rolls at a very, say, attractive pricing to customers, the sales guys can take in orders very quickly, punch it in, and immediately it appears on my planner's table. So these are things where I find where we spend a lot more manpower, resources, time, and also sometimes incurring a lot of brickbats from customers who cannot understand why it takes forever for a box to arrive at their place. See? So having a system like Microsoft Dynamics, Business Central, with the corrugation solution built on top of it, allows us that ability to react a lot more efficiently.
So I guess in a sense, it's a lot of ripple effect, right? From one just, having the order being processed faster, it leads to salespeople being able to sell more and engage with the customers more. And then it ripples all the way up to the company, of course, being more profitable in that sense, yeah?
Yes, you're absolutely right, Kisha.
Actually, it sounds so good already. I think everybody else who doesn't have an ERP system, they should, sign up on board and look at how the solution can help them. All right. The next thing I wanted to ask is also, I think in terms of a software solution, dashboards are pretty important, especially for the business leaders, the HODs, the GMs, of course, the directors as well. So in your use of the Samadhan solution and Microsoft Business Central, how much does the dashboard help you?
Dashboards have different functions for different level of people, employees in the organizations. For business leaders like my bosses and ourselves, what we want is a very quick snapshot at different timeline during the month. So we have like a pulse check. So the dashboard provides us the opportunity, say in the first week, second week, third week, or mid-month and end month, to look at performance of our plants. And we want to look at performance across a number of plants, not just one plant. Today, the communication come in all shapes and sizes. If you don't have one single solution that is completely integrated, what happens is different plants provide you information in different flavors. So having something integrated and a dashboard allows us to look and drive sales growth, profitability by looking at which SKU, which customer, which account is more profitable and which is less profitable, for example. And we will always want to look at the bottom 10% of the customers or the accounts that we have and look and see how can we improve on this. And for the top 10% or top 20%, you want to grow additional volumes with your customers. So you're looking at opportunities there. And then for the bottom 10%, it's a question of either weeding it out so that it does not, dampen your profit line, or looking and seeing how did my manufacturing plant perform? Were there any inefficiency? Earlier, when Manoj was talking about the ability to look at PDIs and look at job cards, job orders, and the information that is collected in the in Samadhan itself, that allow us to very quickly identify whether I have lots of downtime, I have a lot of quality issues, or maybe it's just pure human resource issue, meaning operators at the shop floor are not so skilled at running the machines, and therefore creating a lot more quality issues and driving a higher cost for per piece that is produced. So these are information where from plant managers, we want the plant managers to have a greater ability to drill information right down to the SKU level, right down to a machine level. And these dashboards have that capability. Now for the sales team, they are looking at orders. So they're always looking at orders. They're always looking at customers' forecasts. Today, customers provide us forecasts for ranging from 1 week to a month. And some of them can even go out to 2 or 3 months forecast for us. So what we're doing is using that information, using past historical information of production. We want to see in terms of our capacity. Do we have an under capacity issue? And if we do have an under capacity issue, then it's time to put in a lot more investment. And that's where it drives a different conversation in our monthly management meeting in that respect. Okay, Kisha?
Thank you so much, Bernie. All right, we're running a little bit short on time. I'm gonna put Manoj back on the screen for the last question and probably the most important question. So Manoj, if we have someone who is interested in the solution, because it looks pretty good, and of course with the strong endorsement from Bernie earlier, so let's say I run a corrugation box manufacturing plant and I want the solution, where do I go?
Where do I go?
Where do I buy it from you?
Okay, so we go either to CRT or Samadhan. So CRT and Samadhan together are working in providing solutions to the Southeast Asia, and CRT has presence in Malaysia and Singapore, and they also help us with other Southeastern Asian countries, and we are available to deploy. As I said, it can be deployed on premise, it can be deployed on cloud. So that is how it is. I wonder if that was what you were wanting to hint at.
Yeah, I think yes, definitely. So in terms of, thank you so much for your response. Let me switch over the screen. So in terms of the solution wise, if any of you are interested in it, we are unfortunately experiencing some technical issues, so I'm not able to show the slide with our contact information. But don't worry, because we will send a copy of the recording of this session to every one of you who are present, and also who registered but may not have had the time to stay with us the entire length of the way. And we'll also be putting up our contact information as well in the email. So let me see. Yeah, I think that's the end of our time today. We did overrun a little bit. Hope you don't mind. Again, thank you everyone for your time. Thank you to Bernie, Dick, and Manoj for spending time with us doing your presentation and also answering a couple of our questions today. I hope all of you attendees have actually or can go away from today's session with some helpful information and also some new ideas of what can be done to your business and how the solution can help your business. Thank you again, and we'll see you soon.